Yo, friends and family, check it out. If you guys have been keeping up with me on social media, you know I made a huge announcement not too long ago where I talked about my recent career move. But today, I want to break down the two because, you know, I want to be very transparent and open, but I don't want to mislead anybody, you know, when I'm talking about my career and things that have worked for me. And so in our culture, in young culture, the biggest career discussions is 9 to 5 versus entrepreneurship. I am a product of both, right? I'm proud to say that I've had successful careers in both. And so for me, you know, my recent career change, first off, you have to realize you have to figure out what works best for you. Don't go on Instagram or LinkedIn or TikTok and you see somebody else doing something and you think, okay, I can do the same thing, because you don't know what that person has sacrificed to get to where they are. And so I always say that because a lot of times in our young careers, we're very over ambitious, but we're also very, what's the word I'm looking for? We compare a lot, right? We're always trying to figure out what little JoJo or little Sally is doing and how we can try to do the same thing as them or do things better. In your life, you have to realize everybody has their own book. I'm in chapter 1000. You may be in chapter 15. Okay? We are in two different chapters of life. Right? So you don't know exactly what I got going on in my book, and I don't know exactly what's going on in your book. God wrote our books separately. Our books are not together. So you have to figure that out internally. And so 9 to 5 versus entrepreneurship, for me, this is what it is. Your first job is typically your first investor, right? And when you get that first job, you know, and I say that for people who have bigger goals, bigger dreams, and bigger aspirations. I'm assuming everybody doesn't want to work forever, right? And so when you go into working, figure out exactly that exit game plan. For me, you know, I said I wanted to be done before the age of 30. And that's because I've been building this organization since I was 19 years old. So I'm going to continue working this 9 to 5, but from 5 to 9 on the weekends or maybe in the betweens, I'm still pushing this organization. I am still doing development of this organization. I am still investing all my resources and my business back into the organization because I got to retire before 30. You heard what I said. I said I got to retire before 30. I made that mandatory because with the things that I wanted in life, and when I said I wanted to build a family, I knew that I couldn't have the two. I couldn't balance the two much longer, because one of the things you have to realize in the corporate elevation or in the 9 to 5 period, the higher you go, the higher it gets. So the more that you want to elevate and get bigger positions, more responsibility is on you. More people are dependent on you. So you may not have a bunch of free time that you had in your early 20s in your career to go out and still work the 9 to 5 and go home and work on your business. You may not have that leisure. So I told myself I have to retire by the age of 30. So for me, you have to treat your job as your first investor. Give your all to your job, right? Do everything that you got to do. You know, try to make the most money in your career, and figure out that exit game plan. Now, all of our plans are going to be different. Little JoJo said he wants to retire at the age of 38, right? Little Sally says she wants to retire at 28, right? They have two different game plans. They had two different occupations. Maybe he or she is in the health. He or she is in technology. So the elevation may be a lot different. Maybe she has to wait 3 years to get their promotion. So everybody is in a different boat is what I'm trying to say. But you have to figure out exactly what works best for you. The thing about it is being a 9 to 5, you're covered through medical, dental, eye vision, all that cool stuff. Depending on where you're working, you get some really good benefits, okay? So take advantage of that. You get 401k, max out your 401k. Okay, I never liked the idea of working till I'm 60 to enjoy my 401k. I never liked that, right? Me, I said, okay, I'm gonna max it out because that's another lane, that's another funding source that I can use as a business investment. But remember, I wanted to retire by 30. So if you have a different game plan than me, you may look at your 401k in a different strategy. Yours may be to finance your first home or whatever you want to do, right? All of us are different. But the things about 9 to 5 is it provides you a lot of security. So when I was working for PepsiCo, I was able to try a lot of different things because I had that security to fall back on. I got that guaranteed bi-weekly check that's coming in, right? I got that big salary that I can depend on. In entrepreneurship, sometimes you have to take calculated risk, right? You can't go out blowing thousands of dollars on a new business venture that you don't know if it is going to work or not on the entrepreneurship side, because you're the breadwinner, you're the big dog. And you got to realize something. Sometimes when you leave that 9 to 5, you leave in that covered blanket and you going into the unknown where people are dependent on you. Now, look at me. I have a staff that I work with. I have people that work with me at the organization. So sometimes my people got to get paid for certain things, you know. And so I can't be around here just creating new business ventures, blowing all this money, and I still got a team that's dependent on me. So your priorities change when you jump into entrepreneurship. In a 9 to 5, typically the CEO is the one that's taking all the hits, and you may not be the CEO at that corporate company wherever you're working. So you're able to be a little more reckless in the things that you do, right? And so it's different. It's both hold different weight. All right, it's kind of going back to the 9 to 5. You got the benefits, you got that security blanket. You have elevation, right? So you're able to get, you know, promotions. I got my first promotion with PepsiCo within 8 months. I think I started in July, and by February, maybe March of the next month, the next year, I already was promoted to sales manager, I believe. So, you know, if you perform well, you do really good things, you can get promoted really fast, and that means more money. So there's perks that come to both. On the entrepreneurship side, there's unlimited income. You may be capped out at $100,000 a year in your 9 to 5. In entrepreneurship, you can make however much money you can. You can make $1 million a month, right? You can make $10,000 a month, or you can make $500 a month. It don't really matter in entrepreneurship. It all depends on what you put in is what you get out. Typically, it's kind of how I look at entrepreneurship. And so unlimited income, you have the freedom to do anything that you want. And I think people kind of misconstrue freedom. Everybody wants to be an entrepreneur so they can travel whenever they want. Man, I try to travel as much as I can, but man, at the same time, I gotta take care of business. So, you know, typically people may think as an entrepreneur you have all this free time. Man, when I say I've been working from Monday to Sunday, I've been getting things done to get this store open. I've been working on the back end on these programs. So you may think you're working less. You're really not, because it's going back to what I just said. You are the big dog. You the big dog in entrepreneurship. People are dependent on you. So you're not working less. You may be working more. Right, so you know that's kind of the downside to it. But what all I'm trying to say is that there's pros and cons with each. Figure out what works best for you. Okay, you may not be ready to jump into entrepreneurship yet, right? You may not be ready to leave that job, and that's totally fine. Don't let social media get it confused and make it seem like working is for losers. Because if we keeping it real, there's a lot of people that's working that's making more money than people that's into entrepreneurship, and they got health benefits. You know, and so you got to look at all the things that go with it, and you got to figure out what works best for you. And so for me, I always try to make calculated decisions. I'm a very calculated person, and I never wanted to jump out there when I didn't have anything to jump into. I'm gonna slow it down. Don't jump out there when you don't really got nothing to jump into. You driving a car. 9 to 5 is a car. This is a nice car. It's working. But you want to jump out the car because you think the grass is greener on the other side. It may not always be that. And so I knew early in my career, I wasn't ready to jump out because my organization was still in that development phase. And for me, I'm big on sustainability. The thing about 9 to 5, it provides a lot of sustainability. It provides a lot of coverage. Entrepreneurship doesn't really have that. And so I knew I wasn't jumping out to go sell t-shirts online or do day trading or whatever. I'm not doing none of that, right? To me, that wasn't sustainable enough. And that's typically what a lot of people are pushing towards. They go for the high dollar stuff, the things that they feel like can make money fast. There's nothing wrong with that. But the thing about it is, once you're leaving that protected environment and you're going into something that's typically unknown, it needs to be sustainable, because maybe it may be hard for you to go back to a 9 to 5, right? You've been out of work for a few years and your credentials are not there, your work history is not there anymore. It may take you a little longer to get back into the field. Plus, you may have to start from the bottom again. You never know. So if I'm gonna go into something, I gotta go into something that's sustainable. And so I made sure in this moment, this organization was ready to launch. And I'm not saying launch into something that's basic. Now, we're ready to get into some things that's going to really make some things shake, which is why you see us develop right into a program, right into a store, because we've been building this foundation for so long. And so if it really wasn't for the groundwork that I put in, people don't realize, man, I was leaving. I was going on my lunch break maybe, and I'm driving to a school to go speak, or I'm going to this event. I'm clocking out at a certain time, but at the same time, I'm going from 5 to 8. I'm going to an after school program. I'm taking my days off to go speak or go travel and go do something. So I sacrificed a lot to be in this moment. It ain't always pretty. It's so many nights where I went to sleep. Man, I'm tired. I'm running on 5 hours of sleep because I done did all this, and I done went home and worked on this hand, but I got to get right back up at 5 o'clock in the morning. It ain't always glamorous. And so I'm saying all that to say, I'm not trying to brag or anything, but I'm just saying you got to put that work in if you really want to go out there and jump in entrepreneurship. Don't jump out there with your head cut off thinking, oh, it's going to work out because I seen Lil JoJo blow up on TikTok. You ain't Lil JoJo. And little JoJo ain't you. Your life is different from the next person. So when you're looking at 9 to 5 versus entrepreneurship, you got to figure out what makes the sense for you. And don't let social media play you, man. Don't let them play you out of a good job. Please don't let them play you out of a good job. Everybody's not in the right position to go into something that's going to make money for them, or they don't have the right business history behind them to go into something. So take your time, find out what works best for you, and you live your life the way you're supposed to live it. And trust me, when that time is going to come, you're going to know when that time is coming. But until then, put that work in, and hard work never goes unnoticed. For all those 6 years, while I did all of that, I couldn't be here today without God watching me work hard and allowing me to walk into this essence. And another thing, I believe, and that could be a whole nother video, but I believe. You see it, but do you believe it? I saw it 6 years ago, and I believe it, and that's why I'm here today. You may not see it, and you may not believe it, so you may not be ready to jump on that other side. So it may be best for you to stay where you're at until you're ready. You know what it is. It's your boy Sebastian J. Sanders. This is Money Money.